this is a brand new story that takes place in the same universe as the Until Dawn game. So it's expanding the mythology and the lore of the Until Dawn universe, which I think is the way to go personally, because if you did a direct adaptation of the story from the game, you take away that decision-based element from the game, and you just have kind of a generic horror story, so I don't think it would have worked so well. I'm of two minds with this film, one as just a new horror film, and one as an Until Dawn film. So just looking at it as a new horror film, it was okay, bit of a mixed bag with some entertainment to be had. The plot, as I'm sure everyone's going to say, is a horror version of Groundhog Day, with a little bit of Cabin in the Woods thrown in there, because they die, they start the night over, and every night they have a new threat that's trying to kill them. So night one, they're killed by this generic horror slasher, and the gore is actually quite good. And then night two, they're possessed by some weird ghostly presence in the house, and there's actually one scene where the psychic girl is possessed by all the other missing victims who have been to this house before, and she's talking with their voices. That scene was actually quite creepy. Probably the highlight of the whole film for me. And then on night three, all the characters are holed up in the bathroom trying to wait out the night. They're drinking the water, and then the water causes them to randomly just explode on the spot, and blood, guts, and gore just splatters everywhere. And at that point, I just kind of laughed, because the film was just leaning into the absurdity and just kind of having fun with the premise. Some of the horror stuff, the chases, the gore, is enjoyable in that dopey, kind of daft kind of way. But mixed in with all that, you have horror tropes, cliche dialogue, not very good acting. So just purely on entertainment value, the film is kind of up and down and up and down and up and down. It's never like super boring or super entertaining, it's just right in the middle. And then the third act, people are running in corridors and tunnels in the dark, and flashlights are going all over the place, and I can't tell what the hell's going on. Overall, the film doesn't really stand out as one of those Groundhog Day, take the time loop, living a certain period of time over and over again, reskin type films. It doesn't do anything super new with that kind of premise. But now looking at it as an Until Dawn adaptation / expansion, I'm a little bit confused in some parts, and I'm going to get into some very mild spoilers, just mild though, nothing major. So Peter Stormare is in this film, and he plays the same character that he played in the Until Dawn game, Dr. Hill, which is really cool. But in the game, Dr. Hill is a hallucination in Rami Malek's character Joshua Washington's mind. But in this film, he's a physical presence who is there, and the characters speak and interact with him, and he is directly watching the events that are unfolding. It's not that the main character in this film, Clover, is hallucinating him as well, because the other characters hear him on the little speaker thing, so he's actually there watching what's going on, and the events that are taking place with the characters in the time loop is actually happening. He even says so to Clover himself, because Clover says, "What, is this all in my mind?" And he goes, "No, it's real." And it just has me a bit confused about how it connects to the Until Dawn game, because you have the tie-ins to the games with Joshua Washington's profile on Dr. Hill's desk. It's got Rami Malek's picture on it, and the Wendigos have the same backstory they had in the game, where they were miners in a mining disaster and they just became really horrible cannibals, and now they're Wendigos. So the connective tissue is there. I'm just not quite sure how it threads together, because in the Until Dawn game, there wasn't really anything supernatural in that game. I'll be honest, I haven't played the game in quite a while. But as far as I can remember, there was no supernatural part to the story of Until Dawn. You had the Wendigos, and that's what the characters were running away from and trying to survive in the night. But in this film, they have the general concept of the characters restarting the night over again, and also that ghostly thing on night two that's possessing people. So they go a bit more supernatural in the film than the game did. And also, in the game, you have the lodge on the mountain, and in this film, it's just the town that's been sunk into the ground. So geographically, I'm also kind of confused as to what's going on, because again, the Wendigos and the mines are in this film, they're in the game, but the game's at a completely different location than the film is. That, as well as Dr. Hill's physical presence in this film, watching over all this supernatural stuff, just has me a little bit confused about how it all threads together. And maybe the answer is all open to interpretation. Maybe the whole thing is supernatural. Maybe Dr. Hill is actually just like a ghostly psychiatrist who studies his subjects in their subconscious, maybe. Maybe that's the answer, but I'm just a bit confused as to how all this ties together, like I said. So as an adaptation / expansion of Until Dawn, it's a bit confusing and overall a bit unfulfilling. As a horror film on its own, a bit unoriginal, bit of a mixed bag, some entertaining parts in it, some good gore, some good death, some decent horror elements. The Wendigos are actually really well realised in the film. Good makeup, practical makeup on actual actors, and they're creepy, and when they're chasing people, they're kind of scary, so good job on the Wendigos. If you're a fan of the Until Dawn game, I actually don't know how you're going to feel about this film, because even I am still on the fence about it as an Until Dawn film. If you've never played the game and you just go into it and experience it as a horror film on its own, you might have some dumb fun with it, but pretty much everything in here you've seen done better in a lot of other horror films.